Here we go. Week 9 underway. The Tennessee Titans and Will Levis fall to Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Were the quarterbacks the story? Maybe not in that one. And of course, we're making picks for the rest of Week 9. Eagles, Cowboys, Bills, Bengals. Such a good slate of games coming at you right now.
NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson bring you expert NFL analysis every day in less than 30 minutes. Get an inside look into the NFL on the field and in the front office. With elite breakdowns, next-level analysis, and in-depth information only for the real NFL fans. This is Peacock and Williamson, and it starts now.
Welcome to the Peacock and Williamson NFL Show. Brian Peacock alongside Matt Williamson at BD Peacock at Williamson NFL. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We appreciate all the everydayers out there, and make sure you are an everydayer. Just subscribe up on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcasts. Today's episode of P&W is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL or download the app. Use code lowercase LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. So, as usual, and I think as we predicted with this game, Matt, it was going to be a little bit ugly with the Thursday nighter, with these two teams, the way they're constructed, the way they're playing, with their young quarterbacks. Notes on the quarterbacks, notes on specifics of the game. And how it went, Matt. And I know you were very locked into this as you cover the Pittsburgh Steelers locally. But I thought this note was crazy after the game, as relayed from Adam Schefter. At 5-3, and it really illustrates how, these types of games are on Thursdays and just the brand of football the Steelers are playing right now. But they're still 5-3. At 5-3, the Steelers are the 34th team since 1933 when rushing and receiving stats were first tracked to be outgained in each of their first 8 games of a season. They're the only one of those 34 who had a winning record. The Steelers are also the only team this season to be outgained in every game, and they've been outgained by 790 yards, second worst to only the Denver Broncos, yet the Steelers sit right now after Week 9 at 5-3.
I know that. Trust me, I know that well. It's bonkers. It's every game's the same. They either lose by a million, which happens for the really, really good teams, as you saw the Niners Week 1, or they win a very low score, tight one-score game. And trust me, I'm as analytical as the next guy and understand that that's unsustainable. One-score games are going to come back to the mean. But when you do it so long, I do think there's an art to winning one-score games. Like when I really started to study that stat, the Vikings were the perfect example last year. They're going to come back to the mean in one-score games. But there's a handful of teams over the football outside of era that continually beat them. And it's like it's like the Seahawks with Pete Carroll. It's Belichick with Brady.
Yeah.
It's Tomlin's whole career. It's Harbaugh. There's an art to winning these ugly-ass games. And trust me, I watch one every week.
So it might be a feature more than a bug, but it's also not ideally the way you want it to go down. And it's probably not a good sign for the Steelers, doing a lot in January. But they're in the conversation to be playing deep into January, at least right now, and being a playoff team at 5-3 and, beat a team like the Tennessee Titans, who have their own list of problems. And I'm sure they've got some numbers and some stats that would illustrate where they're at as a football team right now. And clearly they're in sort of at least a soft rebuild mode right now. They didn't trade away a bunch of people. They didn't trade away Derrick Henry, but they do have their young quarterback in Will Levis. And I think we have to talk about these two young quarterbacks in Pickett and Levis. Let me ask you this question, because it was put to me, and I think is a pretty easy answer from me. Looking at the stats, let's go to the stats first. Kenny Pickett, 19 of 30 passing, 160 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He had a QBR of 43.6, QB rating of 88.2. Better QBR and rating than Will Levis. Will Levis is 22 of 39, 262 passing yards, 100 more yards. No touchdowns, though, and the late interception from Will Levis, who was sacked 4 times. Kenny Pickett sacked 0 times. So just looking at that, you would think, Kenny Pickett a little bit more efficient, and Will Levis have a great game. But Which quarterback
Unless
did you
you
come
watch the
away
game.
with? Yeah, exactly. Which quarterback did you come away with thinking that I would rather have this quarterback on my team?
I thought Levis way outplayed him. I don't know which one I'd rather have. I mean, Levis is hard to comment on because it's been 2 games. I thought he would crash and burn in this game. Short week, big time pass rush. He was under duress like 50% of his snaps too,
Right.
and played really, really well. I was very impressed with Levis. I'm not even going to count the late interception against him. I mean, that's desperation time. You have to make a play. You're just chucking one up there.
Interceptions on the same drive.
Right.
It was going to end in a touchdown or an interception.
But he definitely outplayed Pickett. But how about this? I mean, this is so Steeler, Tomlin, Pickett-esque. Over the last year and a half now, Pickett's been in the league, a year and a half now. He has more fourth quarter comebacks than anyone in the league except for Kirk Cousins. Well, you have to be losing to come back for one thing, but his fourth quarter numbers are like the best in the league. His first 3 quarters are like the worst in the league. And it's like that over and over and over. They did have a good drive to start the game, but he missed 4 throws that every quarterback should make that were left big plays on the field, maybe even touchdowns. And how about this? This is going to blow people away. So this is week 9, right? The Steelers had a week 9 bye last year. They're 12-5 since then. And it's the same exact formula.
Yeah,
it's scored by 1 billion in that stretch.
It's pretty unbelievable what the Steelers are doing right now. And when it comes with Pickett and Willis, I think you mentioned Kirk Cousins. It's probably what you're hoping he's going to be for you if you're the Steelers, is sort of a Kirk Cousins type of quarterback in the long term, right? Is that something?
He's far from there right now.
He's far from there. But that's what you're hoping for with Kenny Pickett. With Will Levis, it's very different. It's more explosive plays. I've been impressed by him. I know, and maybe it's coach speak during the week lead up. Mike Vrabel was saying that he'll wait until Tannehill is healthy before he makes a decision on quarterbacks. Like, Will Levis is your quarterback the rest of the way. I mean, that's not even a decision to be made. Yeah. But I was impressed. And he's, there's some like Favre-ian, he's Josh Allen, Favre, that style of like big arm, not afraid to sling it. He might run into more mistakes. I've actually been surprised that he's, got a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And, he could have multiple other passes picked off in this game. Particularly on the last drive, we're just trying to make something happen. But I'm impressed with Will Levis here, and obviously a more difficult task for Levis than Pickett to go win this football game. And good job by the Steelers to win this one really on the ground in Steeler fashion.
Best they've run the ball all year, so that's encouraging. Getting Cam Hayward back helped. DeAndre Hopkins, no catches in the second half. Henry didn't kill you. So many penalties, as everyone noted, but a lot of them were deserved. It's just a yucky Thursday night game. And like I said, the Steelers are 5-3. They get a long break now, and they get the Packers coming here next week. Packers are terrible, so they shouldn't be a contender, but they're in it. And Tennessee, I think, is building some good blocks.
So we're highlighting the young quarterbacks, but how about the young corner, the second round selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Joey Porter Jr.? I saw that after the game, and I didn't realize this, Matt, and I'm sure you were all over it, that Joey Porter Jr. requested to follow DeAndre Hopkins. He said he went to Tomlin and said, I want this challenge. I want 10. Give me that guy. And DeAndre Hopkins didn't do what he did last week with Will Levis. 5 targets, 1 catch for 17 yards, 2 forced incompletions on the 30 snaps when Joey Porter Jr. was manned up against DeAndre Hopkins. So fantastic job by the young corner.
Yeah, I mean, their secondary is terrible, especially without Minka. The only keepers to me are Porter and Minka, of the guys that actually get a lot of snaps, or some young guys maybe. But he's definitely a bright spot. It took them way too long to make him a starter. And why that's even especially noteworthy is they are a left-right corner team. They are not a follow-you-around team at all. I mean, for them to do that and then look at him in that light says a lot about the player, and he's been very good.
Yeah, so might have found something there. And how about this one? Another highlight of a young player is Broderick Jones playing on the right side. It's just, I thought he played a really good game. Obviously, the Steelers ran the ball well and protected Pickett, 0 sacks. The way he gets up out on the second level to block, he is so athletic at his size. It's unbelievable. Yep. You can see why he was a first-round pick.
Absolutely. He's got a lot of work to do in protection, but he is already a force in the run game, and they don't have any linemen like him. I mean, you sit there and watch practice for 2 seconds, my daughter could be like, I'll take that guy.
Well, that guy's different.
You know, right?
All right. 2016 Steelers beat the Tennessee Titans on Thursday night to kick off week 9. Steelers improved to 5-3. The Titans now 3-5. But you know what? They might have just found their quarterback, which I think most Titans fans would be okay with by the end of this season, and figure out how to go on beyond that. And we don't know what Will Levis is going to be, but early returns, like what I'm seeing here after 2 weeks, and even though he faced some adversity here against the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, we got lots of great games to get to. We're previewing week 9, making picks for week 9. We've got Eagles, Cowboys in the NFC East, and Bills at Bengals prime time next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. How easy is PrizePicks? Well, all you do is you select 2 or more players and you pick more or less on what their projected stats are on PrizePicks, and maybe win up to 25 times your money doing it if you hit on all of those picks on those projected stats. And how about this one now with basketball season here? You can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that include 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce. You got 10.5 combo of 3 points made and receptions from those 2 players. So lots of fun ways to play, not just NFL, play NBA prize picks as well. And all you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL or download the app. Use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that is prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use promo code LockedOnNFL, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Here we go, Matt. Let's go to the I just want to go straight to it. Let's go Philadelphia Eagles, who are hosting the Dallas Cowboys. And I know it's an afternoon game. We'll get back to some of the earlier games here, but the 7-1 Eagles hosting the 5-2 Cowboys. This one is really important, probably more important for the Cowboys than the Eagles. You're on the road, so it's already going to be a tough matchup at Philly. But you can't start getting 2-3 games behind if you're trying to play a home playoff game if you're the Dallas Cowboys.
No, 100% true. A huge game. We got 3 or 4 awesome games this week, all in different time slots for people, which is great. I think Dak's playing the best he has in a year or two, to be honest with you. I mean, we know the turnovers last year. He had injuries before that. I think he's starting to round back into shape. I like their line. I like their weapons. I like how they're featuring CeeDee Lamb. I like their pass rush. But I wonder, can they stop the Eagles' ground game? I mean, the Cowboys' D is much more pass rush oriented than it is, pounding the run. So I think that's a huge key at home. And can they protect Dak? I mean, that's going to be a challenge as well. But I still think 3 is too big a number. I'm not sure who wins it, but I'll take 3 in what should be a very close game.
Yeah, looking at the lines here, brought to you by FanDuel, and Philadelphia Eagles at home favored by 3. I like the line. I think that's right. I think I'm going to actually give up the 3 and take the Eagles.
Okay.
I just think they're a better football team, top to bottom. And when you look at Jalen Hurts statistically this year, 2,140 passing yards is good, 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And you look at that, and you're like, he's playing better than what his numbers might look with that 13 to 8 touchdown to interception ratio. And obviously, the tush push, they showed a little change up off the tush push last week, which I liked a lot. I fear they would save that for a bigger game, but I think you're gonna start seeing more of that and just trying to get fewer people in the box just to let people know, hey, we can do some other things out of this formation. Walk in touchdown. And AJ Brown's just going crazy. So can the Dallas Cowboys pressure Hurts, limit AJ Brown? That's, and then obviously there's the run game on top of it. So it's a tough task going against the Eagles right now. And the Eagles haven't really put it all together, but they've still walked away from teams in the second half of games, even when it's close in the first half.
Yeah, I said this about the Chiefs. I'm saying it about your Niners, that 28 teams in the league would kill for the quote problems the Eagles are having right now. You know what I mean? Like they'll be just fine. They're a real handful. I just don't love their back 7 of the defense, but now Byard's there. It could be better, Yeah.
And, obviously he was thrown into the fire last week, and then you it'll take a little bit of time. You get the scheme down, and you know all the players, and so I'm sure Byers get better and better in that defense, which should help them out quite a bit. So yeah, can Dak? It feels like a Dak game. You know, is he going to throw the ball to the right team? Then the Cowboys have a good shot here. It's going to be a good game. I like this one.
Great game. Yeah, I'm psyched about it too.
So you got Cowboys. I got Eagles. And by the way, if you are wondering about some of the games, some really good ones, the Dolphins Chiefs. We both picked the Chiefs. This is from yesterday's podcast, the 6-pack, and go back and listen to that one if you want. But just, so you're wondering, hey, why didn't you make these picks on today? We did Dolphins Chiefs, Vikings Falcons. We like the Falcons, both of us. Seahawks Ravens. I think we both like Seahawks there. Giants over the Raiders. We've got Commanders Patriots. I think you took the Saints. I took the Bears in our
correct.
In our 6-pack. Yeah,
all those against the spread, by the way.
Yes, all of our picks against the spread here that you can find at FanDuel.com, America's #1 sports book. Okay, let's go to Sunday morning. We already did Chiefs and Dolphins in Germany, 6:30 Pacific time. It's gonna be a tough one. Gonna have to get the coffee ready for that one. And obviously, we already did Vikings Falcons. So how about the Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns? Quick note on Deshaun Watson. And, it's always just, I don't know, hazy what's going on with Deshaun Watson right now. He said, I'm not even sure this week. So that's the latest is Deshaun Watson doesn't know. Nobody knows. Deshaun Watson still day-to-day listening to doctors, not sure if he's going to play Sunday. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure if it makes a big difference at this point.
And I think Kyler Murray's going to play, but I've seen nothing to confirm that. I mean, I just think that the way they've handled this with his window and trading Dobbs implies that they think he's ready. Kyler versus Watson could be fun.
Well, you have to get Kyler in there soon, or else you lose him for the year. So,
right. I mean, his window only has one more week.
Yeah, so if he doesn't play next week, he goes back to IR, bye for the rest of the year. So he's playing this week or next week, and I don't know why they would have opened up his window when they did if they didn't expect him to play by this week. So I think they want to. If you're
rarely do you open a window and not have them, even get to the third week.
Yeah, and maybe they just truly don't know and they want to be sure, which would be smart for Arizona. But it's not like the Browns are like, well, we better prepare for Clayton Tune just in case.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Like that part of it's not going to help. And Cleveland favored by 7.5 points, by the way, against the Cardinals. So I don't know if it matters that much. And what would that even look like with Kyler Murray? I'm just kind of excited to see what that looks like with him, because I'm sure it's a much higher level quarterback play, even if he's not super efficient and in midseason form or anything.
A little rusty. Yeah, exactly. Where Watson might make his team worse, I assume Kyler makes his team better. And you want to see the stars, but with all that uncertainty, I'm just going to take the points here since it's over a touchdown. I mean, I still think the Browns D will be stifling, but I don't know if they're beating anyone by double digits or anything of that nature right now.
Could be pretty low scoring. 37.5 is the over-under as well. So I'm going to take points just because it's a lot of points. And then if you get Kyler Murray, maybe that helps you out a little bit. If it's Clayton Tune, I might give up those points. But look, it's called gambling for a reason. And the information we have as of this recording, I'm going to take the points there. But the Browns are an interesting team because they can beat a lot of teams. But they're 4-3 right now for a reason. And I just need some consistency there from them on offense.
Yeah, that's why I'm just going to take points. But Arizona is quickly becoming the worst team in the league again, as we suspected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely more fun if Kyler Murray does play, though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that part.
How about the Green Bay Packers? They're favored at home against the Los Angeles Rams. The Packers have been one of the most disappointing teams this year, 2-5. They seem to be going in the wrong direction. The Rams aren't necessarily going in the right direction either. Matthew Stafford banged up last week, so it's 3-5 at 2-5 with the Green Bay Packers at home favored by 3.
So Vegas knows a thing or two, and as you mentioned, this just really implies to me that Stafford's not playing. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's hardly practiced to this point. I mean, West Coast practice schedules can be hard for us East Coasters to keep up with, but that's the only way I can see this line making any sense. And a Staffordless Rams, I don't want to bet on the Packers against anybody right now. I think they're really bad. I'll take the points still and hope Donald and Kupp and those guys keep it close. But the Rams are plummeting quick as well. I don't like the Packers situation. I'm not touching this game one bit.
So it's a sprained thumb for Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tough guy. It's he didn't go on IR or anything, so that they think it's not a long-term injury. But does he play this week? That's tough. And so is he going to be hampered when he does play? You know what really stinks about this is my fantasy team where I drafted Cooper Kupp and then I picked up Puka Nacua, and now I kind of got to play both of them, and I might have whoever. Stetson
Bennett, I assume. Yeah.
Isn't he hurt though too?
I don't know.
Anyway,
you might be right about that. That rings a bell, but I'm not sure.
Or maybe he just because the Rams signed a quarterback, so they're preparing for any of those things, any and all of those things. So this is a stay away game. Stafford rolls out and Toradol's it up and ends up playing, and maybe the Rams are fine, but it's hard not to pick the Packers here. And with the unknown, Stafford doesn't play. I don't know how you can pick the Rams to do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, these are two teams I'd like to bet against right now.
All right, next we got Bucks Texans. I got a note on the Texans quarterback play, by the way, that might surprise some of you. Colts Panthers. Of course, we've got the Bills and Bengals as well Sunday night, and the Chargers Jets Monday Night Football. We'll finish up our picks for Week 9 next. Today's episode of Peacock and Williamson is brought to you by DoorDash. Oh, one of my favorites when it comes to football is wings. And I can't eat wings during football season when I'm watching NFL games, at least, because I got to have my fingers clean. I got to take notes. I might have to jump on the computer really quick. And so it's hard for me unless it's like at a perfect time when I can down the wings and then clean up my hands a little bit later. So a lot of fork and knife type of foods for me, and finger food, something that's easy to clean off. So I can't usually do the wings. But I DoorDash myself some wings all the time from Kezar Pub across the street from old Kezar Stadium in San Francisco. Bullet Bourbon Wings. That is one of my favorite spots, and it goes so good with football. So DoorDash has you covered in your area for all of your football favorites: wings, burgers, pizza, soda, everything you need for whatever it is during the football game. We're getting ready for your tailgate. You can DoorDash groceries. You can go DoorDash retail as well. And our listeners get 50% off up to $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order when you download the DoorDash app and enter code LOCKED23. Subject to change. Terms apply. Don't forget to use code LOCKED23 at DoorDash for 50% off up to $10 value on your first order when you download the DoorDash app. That's LOCKED23. Subject to change. Terms apply. Here we go. Lost my place where we were.
We're doing
okay,
Bucks Texans, I think.
Yeah, let's go Bucks Texans in this one. I kind of teased it, so you probably can guess. Matt, what quarterback do you think has the highest passer rating on throws 25 plus yards down the field that's playing in Week 9?
I'm going to go with Stroud on that one.
That is CJ Stroud, correct. 127.1 passer rating on throws 25 plus yards down the field. Surprisingly, Brock Purdy and Kirk Cousins are 1 and 2 on the list, not playing this week. Russell Wilson next. Sam Howell is actually 5th. So it's not necessarily indicative stat of great quarterback play necessarily, but
I think those receivers have something to do with it too. Dell and Nico can get deep.
How defenses treat you. There's a lot that goes into a lot of stats a lot of times. But I just thought it was really interesting that CJ Stroud, just comes out of the gate. We saw it with Will Levis as well. And there's something to that with young quarterbacks, Matt, where they look comfortable very early in their careers. You're like, oh, good. That's what I hope to see out of a young quarterback. Accurate, willing to let it fly, rough around the edges, sure. But obviously things going great for the Texans with their young quarterback in CJ Stroud. Now they're 3-4 record, which is probably better than I expected. Definitely better than I expected coming into the year for the Texans, flirting with being a 500 team with a rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, rookie play caller on the offensive side of the ball. And the 3-4 Buccaneers coming into town. Houston at home, favored by 3.
I'm definitely a Stroud believer. Those stats back that up. I actually think Baker's playing better than I expected to. And the more I think about it, I kind of think these offenses are about equal. I think these defenses are about equal. I'm not sure that home field advantage is worth 3 points in this. So I'm going to take the points here. I think Tampa keeps it close. And I do expect Stroud to play well, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the points too. I don't know if the Texans deserve to be getting a lot of points. It's not a terrible line either because these teams are evenly matched, but I definitely got to take the points here with the Buccaneers. But I enjoy watching what the Texans are doing right now, and Houston fans should be pretty excited about that. Here's one note on the Buccaneers run game, which I thought was interesting. So teams that are success rate when the running back doesn't hit the hole as designed. So this is also, sort of a statistic that there's a lot of variables involved. How good is your offensive line? You're not hitting the hole that's designed because the offensive line's not blocking it for you. Maybe you just got bad vision as a running back. There's a lot of things that go into it.
Or the opposite. You're Barry Sanders and you just improv. Or,
right, yeah. Exactly. So the Buccaneers are about league average at their running backs not hitting the hole, which is about 17% of their run plays. They are successful on 0% of those plays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not much of an imprint. The ball carrier, that looks like a bad ball carrier stat.
It sounds like a bad ball carrier stat. Yeah. And like some of the other outliers in the league are like Kenneth Walker doesn't hit the hole at the highest rate. It was around 25% in the entire league, but he's league average on those plays when he doesn't hit the hole.
Still gets it done. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, we're both taking the Bucs.
Yep.
Indianapolis Colts 3-5 at the 1-6 Carolina Panthers. Can we have a winning streak in Carolina, Matt? The road Colts favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I don't see a winning streak. I don't see a lot of reason to get super excited all of a sudden about Carolina. I will lay the points even on the road. I think the Colts are a really solid team. I love how their offense is designed. Minshew's fine, but the weapons, Downs, Pittman, Taylor are all rounding into shape pretty well here. I think they win this one by more than 3.
I'm going to go home dog. I'm going to take the points with the Carolina Panthers here. Just on a hunch, got some confidence now with a win last week. Now it was an ugly win. What was the score? 15-13 against the Texans.
Yeah, it wasn't beautiful. Right.
Kind of inching your way toward looking like an NFL football team in Carolina with their rookie quarterback. So, and the Colts haven't been super impressive either. So yeah, I'll take those home dog points.
I just thought of this. It would have been fun if Young could have played Stroud last week and Richardson this week.
I know. That would have been really cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
Instead, we're getting Aiden O'Connell and Tyson Bagent. No offense to the O'Connell and Bagent families.
And whoever else. All right.
Just let's not see DeVito. That's
not, yeah, that's as bad as it gets.
How about the Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals? If I'm not mistaken, Matt, the last time these two teams met was in the snow in the playoffs. And this is fun because these guys are going to see each other a lot. And this is one of those where it's like, just enjoy watching guys who are, to be honest, on sort of, they've got to do a lot more and do a lot of winning, but on Hall of Fame type tracks, right? With Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. And the Bengals are red hot right now at home. The Bills are just up and down. Just roll the dice on what team you're going to get week to week. Cincinnati favored by 2 hosting those Buffalo Bills.
I think the Bills have figured things out on offense. They're using Kincaid more. Shakir's kind of become that slot guy, but I still think the defense is in flux and, trade for corner. I love where the Bengals are at. I love where Burrow's at, at home. This is starting to turn into one of these rivalries in the AFC. Obviously the Hamlin situation as well. I mean, he's going to be in attendance. That'll be emotional. I think since he wins this thing by more than a field goal, I think they're the slightly better team right now and ready to show the world that.
It's like Marino, Jim Kelly vibes, right?
Yeah.
Where they, two good quarterbacks, they play each other a lot. They beat each other up, but hopefully, unlike those guys, one of these guys wins a Super Bowl.
Wins a Super Bowl, yeah. Not easy with Mahomes in the conference.
I just saw the Bengals against the 49ers. The Bengals are playing really good football. They're so well coached on especially the defensive side of the ball. And then, Joe Burrow looks a lot closer to 100%. He's not the same guy that started the year with that injury coming off the bye last week. And so Bengals are in a great spot right now. I like the way the Bengals are playing. I'm more confident in how they're playing right now for multiple straight weeks than the Buffalo Bills. So I'll give up those 2 points and take the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I would think that fan base is going to be all kinds of fired up too.
And we've got the Los Angeles Chargers at 3-4 at the 4-3 New York Jets. Chargers on the road favored by 3.5.
It was not the hardest of competition, to say the least, last week. And boy, every time these words come out of my mouth, I regret it. But I'm starting to kind of trust the Chargers.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I'm starting to trust Herbert. Let's say that.
Do that.
They could lay an egg against that defense, though, and Breece Hall could bust free for long ones, and Garrett Wilson makes big plays, and they'd lose. But I'm going to lay the points on Monday night and trust Herbert.
It's just shameful the level of quarterback play that the Jets are getting some weeks. And just when you thought, maybe Zach Wilson turned the corner, it was so bad last week. And, he did have the quote unquote game winning drive, and they ended up winning that game in one of the ugliest. Actually,
we need to talk about that real quick, if you don't mind.
I got a stat on that. Go ahead.
Okay. So I don't know if everybody watched that game. If you didn't, good for you, because it was as miserable as it comes. There was like 25 punts. But and it went to overtime. It was so offensive deficient that the head coach is screwed up. And here's what I'm saying. And no one will think this way, but the Giants won the toss, get the ball, get no yards, punt. The Jets then get the ball at midfield, get a first down, kick a field goal, win. If the Giants should have kicked off, nobody thinks about it that way. But they absolutely should have. And Steelers did that against the Ravens way back when. Typical Harbaugh, Tomlin, first one to 9 points wins. And then Tomlin got killed for it. But you absolutely should. Like the Jets should have said, thank you for letting us kick to you, because there's no way you're going to drive down the field and get a touchdown. No way.
You want to lose that coin flip, so you don't have to make that, because the other team has to take the ball in case they score.
Because you're just telling your team, I have no confidence in you at all.
But the way, there statistically it wasn't even close that it's more likely for you to get to return a punt and have an opportunity to kick a field goal to win that game versus going down and scoring a touchdown.
I mean, the Giants were scoring a touchdown in 100 tries from the 25.
They
wouldn't even throw the ball.
How about this note on that game? The Jets had 4 yards per play on offense. They punted the ball 11 times, and they lost the turnover battle 2-0, and they won that game. Yeah, the list of teams who have been that bad, who have turned the ball or have punted the ball at least 10 times in a game, had 4 yards per play on offense and lost a turnover battle. One time in the history of the NFL has that team won. It was the Cleveland Browns in 1973 against the Oakland Raiders. I think the score was like 7-3 or something.
Yeah, 3-2 or something.
Yeah. And
you would think, well, that defense probably returned a punt for a touchdown, and they had a pick six, and that's how they won. Well, they didn't. It was just the Giants were that miserable on offense. That's how they won.
So, even though the Jets have a better record right now than the Chargers, and the Chargers are on the road, I do like the Jets defense.
Me too.
I got to take the Chargers here by 3.5. I mean, the line's pretty good. It's because it's over 3, because it could be an ugly sort of a football game. But I have no confidence in taking the Jets, so give me the Chargers.
Yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. Herbert versus Wilson.
By the way, can we go full circle here, because we're done making picks for week number 9? Can we go back to the Thursday night game and a bad coaching decision that was made in that one, when the Titans just kind of like ran like a draw to Tyjae Spears or something like that, instead of trying to put 7 points on the board late in that game and settled for a field goal. Do you remember that?
Not well enough, because I haven't got a chance to watch it a second time, but I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the exact details.
I was like, what are you guys doing? You can't just get on this with time taken down and not trying to put points on the board. And they're like, we're not even trying to get a first down. Let's kick a field goal. And they ended up losing the football game.
Yeah. Oh, I talked about mucking it up and the Steeler ways of winning. I mean, Vrabel and Tomlin are like the same guy. Yeah, I think they're both really, really good coaches. They get hired in a heartbeat. It's a little frustrating rooting for their teams at time too. Like the Steelers at the end of the game, there's like 2 minutes. All you have to do is get a first down to win it. They run 3 times for what?
I was about to turn it off, and the Titans already had the ball back with like a minute and a half to go. I was like, how do you have this much time left still?
Well, the other thing is Deontay Johnson scores for the first time in like 700 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I got a chance to go pee real quick. I'm going to run and do that. I come back. I'm like, they're kicking. what the heck happened? There's a celebration call, and Tennessee gets a ball at the 50-yard line. I'm like, oh, can't anything just be over? Come on, man.
And how does George Pickens not get 2 feet in bounds when he's got like
I know
9
He ended
yards?
up with negative receiving yards. He had 2 catches for -2 yards.
I know he's long-legged and a long strider, but you got to realize that you still got to get 2 feet in bounds.
Pickett made like 4 good throws, and that was one of them. And of course, it didn't end up a touchdown. I mean, that's just what this team's all about. It's great.
All right. Week 9 is going to be going so many great games this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, as we do, Matt and I will be back Monday breaking it all down right here, Peacock and Williamson.